Babble, oh, psychobabble. United the sea, now it's fading to black. I threw it away, 'cause I don't want it back. I don't care, it's all psychobabble.
Also, know this, y'all. Next time, it won't be Upchurch and the Dixielanders. It'll be just the Dixielanders.
Oh, that's the case. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think next time it'll be just the Uplanders? I think it'll be the Uplanders are no good. They're, I think the Uplanders will make the list. What do you think? Or the Dixielanders? The Dixielanders. Uplanders. That'd be a better name. The Uplanders. Pick a name of a band that's already a well-established band name. That's kind of weird. And then, how many people want to make a wager that, hold on one second, let me fix it. I'm not sure what this is going for on. There we go. And there we go. Man, they keep making changes to this software. Every time I turn it on, it's got new. I guess I got to get in here and pixie sticks. That's not even right. You got, listen to this mastery. This is.
Also, know this, y'all. Next time, it won't be Upchurch and the Dixielanders. It'll be just the Dixielanders.
Are pieces of shit. Oh, Timmy, what's the matter, honey? What's the matter? It just sucks. I'm right too much, too many times. And listen, honey, we're not stalking. We're not stalking Upchurch. Listen, look, this guy's always got some kind of like gay or underage sex on the mind. You ever notice that? That's all that's ever on their brain. I guess you live, with your mom and you have no woman. I don't know. These things happen. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I honestly thought to myself, well, I'm sure there'll be a couple good songs on that album, so I'll have to beat that down. I'll never hear the end of it from Crack Squad. There's no worry of that. What? Got maybe 2 channels reacting to it, which are the typical simps. And again, we got to explain to how we doing? Carol crazy. Man, I can't hardly see good tonight. I got a big glare on my glasses. Austin reacts. I know. Listen, I'm not just being mean. I'm not the only one saying it. Okay. It ain't just me. So I don't even want to hear it, Crack Squad. Dude. Wow. I mean, that album was, I guess it wouldn't be so bad. Oh, really? I'll have to check out your reaction. I'll be honest, I haven't listened to a lot of Tom McDonald's stuff. I've listened to like the big promo stuff he's done, the stuff he's done with other artists I know, but I haven't dove too deep in that. Again, I'm not a huge rap fan. And, like, as long as I'd like rap as long as it's mixed with, you know, a traditional chorus and maybe traditional guitar, but just the straight up can beat. Nah, that's just not my cup of tea. Never has been. And it takes. Am I hating on the album? Well, I'm not really hating on the album. I'm giving an honest review of the album, and my opinion is the same as almost everyone else's. It's really subpar, extremely amateur, very poorly produced, rushed. The band is not tight by any stretch of the imagination. No disrespect to those dudes. I don't know them, but I know local bar bands here that are much tighter. And I'm not kidding. Amateur, local bar bands, just old dudes, just old musicians have been kicking it around bars, you know, on and off all their life, just playing local little pubs and stuff that would blow that band off of the stage. Literally. And, I mean, I've got recordings of bands that were recorded on a handheld cassette deck in a bar that sounds better. And I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on with the producing. What, I don't know. I thought, well, for one, of any of the work that Ryan did, I would have to say the Creaker series was definitely his best. Next to a couple of the country albums, you know, it was pretty hard to compete with any amateur artist. Would be hard to compete with, you know, Pond Creek Road and Dirty South. I mean, good stuff. And I don't know what that was we just listened to, but for an album that was long awaited, long discussed, long promised, I don't think there was much effort put in it at all. It seemed like a knee-jerk, self-indulgent project, and you can tell for a lot of reasons, besides my opinion, that it's just wasn't up to par. The sales are flat, extremely. And I guess I got to explain it to Crack Squad again, how the bull crap, it's number one streaming Billboard independent artist crap works. Okay. It's absolute utter nonsense that album was number one of anything. It never came close to being number one of anything. Now, I know you guys got, you know, very small and narrow minds. It's hard for you to understand these things, but when you put an album out that's brand new, it's going to outsell an album that was released a year ago with ease. Because everybody that was going to buy the album that was released a year ago has already bought it. They're not going to buy it again on April 20th, 2025, if it was released in September of 2024. They would have bought it September 20th, 2024, not April 20th, 2025. And I don't know why that's so hard for you guys to understand. There was absolutely not another single record released the day April That when Upchurch dropped Creeker 3, it was the only indie album dropped. So, of course, it's going to have the most sales for that day. But we're only talking a couple hundred copies. So it wasn't number one of anything. It's not good enough to be number one. That I don't know what's going on with this crazy overbaked vocal effect that's being used on every single song. I don't understand that one bit. That gets completely boring. By the end of the second song, you've had enough of the robot auto-tune sound. And listen, I kind of put it like you got a young buck on the guitar there in the Dixielanders, and he can lay down some guitar licks pretty good, but how do I explain this without hurting your feelings too terribly bad? You don't. It's like the cars that are really, really fast and win a lot of races. You don't hear them revving their engine for no reason. They only rev the engine on the starting line, and then they let the engine speak, right? A little bit is enough. You don't have to have power chords every other bar. You don't have to do some lightning run every single bridge. Slow it down. Toss a lick out here and there. Go listen to some Leonard Skinner, young man, and learn how to reserve that shit. Because then it's appreciated because it's anticipated. But when the first chord starts that way and then it stays that way, you're bored with it pretty quick and you've played all your cards. You showed all your cards, and now what do you do? Now what do you do for the next 10 songs or the next 2 hours on the stage? A lot to be said about a little bit versus a lot of bit. And that stuff's way overbaked. And I can't understand how somebody would, well, you see somebody like any artist, kind of think they get better, each time. Each time they put something out, they get a little better, get a little better, get a little better. Now, even in this video that, this latest video that Ryan put out today, and he talks about having 3 or 4 new albums in no time. Dixielanders, don't do it. Don't be a part of that. Because there's no way you can put out a quality album in a couple of months. You're not good enough to do that. Ryan's not good enough to do that. And that amateur producer isn't good enough to do that. And it will just be noise. It won't. I mean, if your producer isn't making you come in there and use multiple different guitars, multiple different amplifiers, multiple different effect pedals, and he's actually miking your amp, none of this direct line shit, then I don't know how that's not an album, and that's just a jam session that's been recorded. And That's exactly what Creekers 3 sounds like. But why no professional producer? You could certainly afford it. But why? What's up with that? At the very least, you got all these loyal fans that just love you to death and have waited forever for this album. And you couldn't even spend, 15 grand on 20 grand on a professional producer. I'm telling you, man, that line in recording sucks. I'm telling you right now. And if anybody around you is telling you otherwise, they don't know what they're talking about. It's a thin sound. It makes it sound thin. Now, yeah, those Midas boards you're using, that fractal module's pretty good, I'll admit. But I can promise you there are absolutely no rock bands worth their salt doing line-in stuff. They are doing fully cranked amplifiers using ISO boxes. And that's the way it's supposed to be done. And that's the way it should be done. And that's the only way it's ever going to sound good. You can't get a full-bodied sounding guitar through a line-in. You just can't do it. It can't be done. When you go to a Metallica concert, and I got bad sinuses this time of year, man. Jesus. My eyes water, my nose run. I don't know if you've ever been to a Metallica concert, but if you go to a Metallica concert, they sound exactly like they do on the album as they do live. And it's because you're listening to the same equipment. That's why it sounds that way. And what they do, and I know this because literally stared at the setup, they still are using ISO boxes. Now, what's an ISO box? An ISO box is a box. And typically, and what I used to use, and I want you guys to understand something. I am an amateur producer, very amateur producer. I promise you, on a bad day, I can smoke what's on that Creeker 3 album. I can say that with absolute, complete confidence. The proper way to get a guitar to sound proper on a recording is an ISO box, and you get one of those practice amps. You can get, a lot of guys use the little Fender practice amp. A lot of guys use that little Marshall, what is that 210 practice amp. And you take some Baltic birch and you build yourself a box and you fill it with styrofoam and you lay that amp in there on its back and you twist the volume knob all the way up. And then you tape a microphone to the lid and then you lay it on there and screw it down. And you run that mic into the board. And now you got a guitar that sounds like a guitar, not as a tin can. And that is the way that it should be done. The kick drum is all messed up. I don't know what's going on there. That should, Jesus. There's a right way to mic a kick drum, and it's not being done. I don't understand. There's an industry standard for a reason, guys. But do you really think that all these big record labels spend all this money and all this time producing albums just because they want to waste the time and money? And you take somebody, that's should be the caliber of Upchurch, a reputation, man, be a proper production there. I mean, Dirty South was pretty doggone good. Several of the songs were produced pretty good on that. Old Stoner knew what was up. Although I do believe he was using Fractal, he knew how to use it. I don't know what's going on over there at Ghost Ranch, but there's no producing going on over there, that's for sure. And it's a shame. And my warning to the Dixielanders is simple. Don't attach yourself to this mediocre rushed bullshit if you plan on having some long-lasting career. I get it. Upchurch is a big name, and golly, what an opportunity, and yippity-yo-ho-hey. But I can promise you he's not going to be with you forever. He's going to be bad. This time next year, he's going to be bad-mouthing you the way bad-mouth everybody else. You are not immune to it. There's nothing special about you. You're no better than Adam Calhoun. You're no better than Kid Rock. You're no better than Justin Adams. You're no better than, the last guitar player. What was his name? You're no better than the last drummer. You're no better than Katie Noel. You're no better than every one of these guys he's been beefing with. You're no better than them. And trust me, you're not going to be immune to it. And it's a short-term thing. And I would not want my identity and career attached to about 4 or 5 really shitty albums. If I were you at your age, I certainly would not want my real name used. I'd have a stage name that you could change because you may want to be in another band that's better. You may get around a producer that can make an album someday, and you're not going to want to listen to that. But let's listen to a few minutes of this. I see some good comments here. And then I want to do a bit of a reaction to this last video because there's some things that are very perplexing. Salute Austin. Hey, what's up? Pixie sticks. I love that, man. That's so cool. All right. All right. I'm with you, dude. That was like a cake that was half done. And tell me about it. Isn't that something? Yeah, Martin just can't play a chord. That's right. He can't. And he said in a video that I can play every instrument. Nobody else in Nashville can. Jeez. There are session musicians in Nashville that are phenomenal. That have, nobody knows their name. They've never sung a song, but buddy, they can play a guitar or drums or keyboard like ain't no tomorrow. My middle brother, is a very phenomenal musician. He can play piano, bass, guitar, saxophone, and he's good at all of it. Really good. He made his living, playing they never were my sister and my brother made a living playing music, but they never were recording artists. They were entertainment band. They did like corporate parties and state fairs and county fairs and weddings and shit like that, right? And they made a pretty doggone good living doing it. They had a big bus, and they would do. They would go to like big car shows, and they'd do a sock hop set, and a country set, and a rock set, and they did it all real well. In fact, I've got some recordings. I got him. I got a recording of him singing some Elvis. I'll see if I can find it here. And you know, to make a statement like that, I know that's all. Isn't it funny? It's all you ever hear from them guys. That's all they ever have on their mind. I tried. I honestly thought, well, there'll be a couple songs on there that are pretty good, I'm sure. Mm-mm. I mean, I just can't believe this guy. You know, you're not on the same page as everybody else. Yeah, I'm the only one that doesn't that thinks it was a half-ass effort. I think you better go check. You're gonna find out. And this is everybody. He could, all joking aside, Martin, he could use his auto tune. Nobody would care if he was doing pop. I didn't know, and that doesn't surprise me one bit. I'm not even shocked a little bit. I'm not shocked a little bit. That explains the lame and lazy delivery and the loose pocket. Very much so. That explains it. That explains it. He needs a producer, not a new producer. He needs a producer. I don't know who's doing it now, but they're not a producer. I don't know what. I mean, who's doing it? Deerdorf? Between remodeling kitchen cabinets and gluing countertops, is Deerdorf mixing it? What's going on, man? I don't know. I mean, how many of you guys get through some of these comments? I don't know how many of you guys. I mean, a lot of people listen to music, but they don't understand music at all. Okay, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, you don't have to know what makes a car run to drive it. But it's important to know that there are standards in which music is built upon. How do I explain it? It's like the work's already been done. You don't have to reinvent the wheel in that regard, because people a lot smarter than you, people a lot more talented than you have already done the work. And now we have standards that we know work, that are tried and true. And at the very least, you have to apply those and then build upon it. Rock songs aren't, a bunch of power chords and screaming. There's, chorus, verse, bridge, lead, it's got structure. Got to be a hook. You got to come back around to. And then we have this thing that's that musicians, I guess, a lot of people that do what Ryan does, which is like Ryan, the majority of his Live performances are recorded backing tracks. And it is like karaoke, right? Everything is predictable. You can take a really, 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 really good karaoke singer and put them in front of a live band, and they'll just choke because they don't know who to follow. They don't know who to count off of. They don't know any of that. And there's this thing that you call the pocket. And that's when everything's right. The stage mix is good. The house mix is good. The drummer and the bass player are gelled like a son of a bitch. And the vocalist is just literally right on top of the count. And we call that the pocket. And it can be a narrow pocket. It can be a wide pocket. When it's a wide pocket, you can get away with anything. You can throw extra licks in there. You can throw extra fills in there. You can throw extra runs in there and show off a little bit here and show off a little bit there. But if there's no pocket, you best not be doing that shit. You best be hunting for the pocket. And unfortunately, there's not a single song on Creeker 3 where there's any pocket created where it's just everybody's swimming in the same ocean. I guess if you don't, I say if you're not into that, it's not going to make sense to you. Oh my God, yes. Yeah. Tom McDonald's, yeah. His that last effort he did, yeah, sold real well. He's had a couple of them that were just flying off the. It couldn't even be in the top 10,000, Rustin. It can't even be in the top 10,000. Okay. This was the comment I was looking for. The vocals are way louder than the guitar randomly, Bobby Bobbitson says. And then the guitar sounds far away from the mic randomly. Now, all you people think all PBR's just shitting on it. That's not me saying that. But isn't it funny? I'm explaining this, and here it is. This is exactly what I'm talking about. There's a reason why that happened, Bobby. And that is we're going right back to this, whoever's producing this is using a line in. There's no amp. There's no guitar amp. So there's no body. I'm trying to think what I can compare it to so it'll make sense for some folks. Yeah. Who's Kalani? Is that who produced it? Phew. I want to. It didn't hit number one, Austin. It didn't. It didn't. It was number one for a minute because no other. If if you went to the record store and they had 10 records for sale and you had 9 of them, you already have 9 of them records. And here's one you don't have from someone you like. You're going to buy it, right? You're not going to buy another copy of the one you already have. You're going to buy the new one. That's what makes this false number one. They had this, there was some simpleton that said, look, he's out selling Taylor Swift, which would be absolutely impossible. And let me tell you why, for a couple of reasons. One, all you got to do is look at his YouTube views. There's no way his album sales could ever be higher than his YouTube views. Because that's the only way someone knows he's released an album. So if he's averaging 30,000 views, then only 30,000 people know that there's an album released. How else would they know? He's not on the radio. He's not on the news. He's not on the TV. He's not on billboards. He's not buying ads. So there's only one way you would know that Creeker 3 was released April 20th. And that would be if you watched his YouTube channel. Okay, so there's that. There's just that reality, right? And that's why I kept, that is why 3 years ago I tried to warn him to separate his antics from his YouTube music channel. He should have started another channel if he was going to do this shit of dogging people and burning people and true crime nonsense, conspiracy bullshit, and fighting with his parents and fighting with his family and, you know, burning one girlfriend after another. That shit should have been happening on some other channel besides official Ryan Upchurch, where his music is. Because now you burnt your music channel down. Okay, the algorithm's broke. You chased off a bunch of your music listeners because they got tired of never hearing any music and only hearing bullshit. So they just quit tuning in. Tried to warn you that 3 years ago. Now you're dealing with it, right? Now it's a reality that I don't give a shit what you do. You're only as good as your YouTube channel, buddy, because you're independent. You have no way of reaching people. There's no other way you're reaching people outside of that YouTube channel. And right now you're touching about average 20 to 30,000, 40,000 some days. It is what it is. And that's why you don't see other people do that. Okay? That's why you don't see other people do that. You don't see successful artists use their channel to go after people because they want to sell music. Anyway, back to the thin sounding guitar. Okay. The thin sounding, checking the weather, amen, PBR. Somebody gets it. Get down here to the bottom. The smearing of the family and all that. Yeah, Austin says, yeah, the Rodney family, the Rodney, death thing there. Chased away a lot. It did. Turned a lot of people's stomachs. So did like encouraging an absolute ground mole like Uncle Will to drag his mother. That just turns people's stomach. some goddamn rotten tooth, dirty hippie, career moocher talking down to his father and his mother. Which is ridiculous. Exactly what did it. So anyway, back to the thin guitar. So that's what happens when you're using a line in, and B, you don't understand any of the fractal modules or any of the other really cool modules. Now I'm old, okay. I stopped doing sound just about the time fractal and digital was the norm. So I'm not versed. There's probably something way better now, but I know those Midas boards did come with the fractal module installed. If you understand that software really, really well, or even like maybe even say use a line 6 or something, you can add guitar sounds to this. Okay. And what it does is it's a software effect that can make your guitar sound like other guitars. Like if you wanted to have the sound of David Gilmour on the wall, there's a module in fractal that will make your guitar sound exactly like that. And as long as you got everything else in order, you got your crossover right, you got your, you got your mix right, you're sending enough effect through the motor, and you're returning your effects to a channel. You're returning your effects to a channel. As long as you're returning your effects to a channel, you can make it sound big and wide with a line in. But I've only met a handful of people can do it. The right way is to use an ISO box. That way, what you record sounds like your amp, and it sounds like the guitar cranked through an amp, not your guitar being played through an AM radio. And yeah, you got to return them effects to a channel, kids. I know it's all fancy on that board, and it's got the effects in, effects return all built right in, and it's so cool. No. You use an auxiliary out, and you loop that effect right back to a main channel, and you put it right in the sub mix, so you can light it when you want it and light it completely wide open. Got to be done that way. It's the standard. And I think a lot of these kids that grew up on digital, what they need to do, I don't know. What happened to Stone Baby? I didn't know that marriage broke up. Cammy says, what happened to the guy that was doing the music before, excuse me, Stone Baby? I don't know. He wasn't bad either. I thought Stone Baby was plenty good enough. He got the job done. I mean, he, could have been better, some stuff, but he did pretty good on it. Nothing beats a really good professional producer in a professional studio where they've got, good, hot mic pre's and people that know how to use them. And I'm sure he is. I think he had sense enough to detach at the prime moment so he didn't get drugged down. Because that stuff can become an anchor. I thought I seen something like that too, Bobby, a name like that. Where did I see that at? I saw something I think you're right, Bobby. I'm pretty sure you are because I saw that too. I saw something about a Kalani um, produced by. I'm almost certain I saw that. I didn't know who that was. I just know I saw that. Anyway, let me see if I can find this. Give me a sec here, and let me see. Can I find a couple examples for you? Been a while since I dug this stuff up, so be patient. Got to go out on a network drive. See if we can. All right, let me scroll down through this while I. Hold on, I'll find it. It's going to take probably a minute or two, but we'll find it. Let's see. I'm looking for some old, very, very old backups here that I just haven't looked at in a long time. It's here somewhere. I'll find it. Don't you worry. It's here. A couple of them I can show you examples because I've got some that were recorded at a local recording studio using a line in, and we refused to pay the guy because of it. Because guitar sounded just like what you're saying, Bobby. I'll show you. Oh yeah, too. Man, there's so much. Gosh, I almost forgot too. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Dawkins. Dawkins from this area. And he's played with several other bands around here. Plus, he's got his own band. And he still jams. I may have him on. Well, I ran into him the other day. I hadn't talked to him in a long time, but yeah, the Dawkins, you know. They had about 3 real good hits. And then another local band that the Gods were set to go on tour with a band called Angel in, I believe, about 78. And they crashed dune buggy, and one of the guitar players and one of the drummers was killed and canceled the tour. And I think that was their window to become a national thing. Angel ended up going on tour with, I believe, UFO instead. Going at where are those recordings at? I may have to find them and show them to you on the next one. But I can't remember where I stashed them dudes. I know I got them. See if it's here. Oh, here. I think we may have it. Oh, this might be it right here. I just thought it'd be cool to show you guys the difference. Yep, I'll do these up another time and show you. And I'll show you, I can show you a direct comparison between an ISO box, a guitar through an ISO box recording, and a guitar through a line in recording. And you'll go, oh my God, that's exactly what Breaker 3 sounds like. You know, Bobby hit it on the net, you know, hit the nail on the head. It sounds like it's being like played through. The guitar sounds thin and tinny. No matter what you do, if you're using a line in, unless you really, really, really got a good handle on one of the outboard modules in that Midas board for either Fractal or whatever some of the new ones are that are out that I'm unfamiliar with. I know Fractal was the standard for quite some time. And I can tell you most of the big bands are using Fractal, and I mean like the big guys, you know, Metallica, you know, Aerosmith, Megadeth. You know, some of you may not know this. There's old Daryl. What's happening? Smells like Teen Spirit. Nirvana, that guitar, that unmistakable guitar, right? That really thick, dripping, wet, rainy guitar. That was done using 3 different guitars through an ISO box. What you're listening to when you listen to that Nirvana track, that is 3 guitars recorded separately and then laid on top of each other through an effects channel back to one single channel. So you've got guitar 1 recorded through an ISO box, using, and I know it was a Stratocaster, and I can't remember what pedal they were using, and one of those little Marshall practice amps in an ISO box. And then the second guitar was was an Explorer, like Dave Mustaine plays, and that unmistakable body, that really cool looking cutaway body that the Explorer, and then a Les Paul. And they're all played through a Marshall practice amp, but all using a different pedal. And then they put all three of those tracks through an auxiliary send and returned them to one channel. Okay. Now, some of you guys that are into recording, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But that's what gave that Nirvana guitar that big, wide, rainy, unmistakable one lick, and you know what the song is sound, you know. And I thought that was so cool. And one of the bands that, you know, I used to go live with, we used to do that. I used to take the lead guitar and the rhythm guitar and layer them. Oh man, it sounded good, especially in a small club. We didn't do it on every set, but we did it on four or five different songs. Sounded really cool done that way. The Hot Pocket. There you go, man. Hot Pocket. He's at the Hot Pocket pot. He says he's 25 minutes behind Inside Corners. Yeah, Nirvana and Korn. Yep. Yeah. Say what you want about Nirvana. That guitar was freaking cool, you know. Let me check. That's what I'm talking about right there. Okay. That is done. That sound was done. 3 different guitars, 3 different pedals, all returned, all through auxiliary sends from isolated channels, returned to one channel in a layer. And that's what made it sound like this. Like, how in the hell are they making that sound? That's how. And only one way you're going to do it, and that's with ISO boxes. They're not hard to make. And I suggest if you are going to be in the rock business, you make you one. In my opinion, and I've said this before, and I've said this many times, I feel like that I fear, I guess is the right word. I know. How can he do that, Tracy, with a straight face? One of the things that bothers me is for the younger generation is you guys are being cheated big time. Because slowly but surely, as the digital age came in, every little thing that's went digital has lost a little bit of the shine. And each change was subtle. But now, 20 years in, we're a mile away from that sweet, wet tube sound. And there's just nothing that compared to it. That's why That's why the 70s music sounds so damn good. And for you young guys, maybe you know this, maybe you don't. But in the 70s, you know, you came in the studio, everything was analog. Okay, there was no dubbing, there was no overbaking, there was no overlaying. Typically, what they would do is the whole band would come in and lay down a demo, and then the producer would start picking at each instrument one by one. And he may have the guitar player come back in 20 times. He may have the drummer come back in 20 times. Bass player over and over, okay, until they get the layer right, sound right, and then they'll have the vocalist come in and do the final, you know, and that can take months on one song. And but there was no mistaking that tube sound. And and the stereo mix is so important. I've noticed that we're getting away from that too. And that's the one that bothers me the most, because, I mean, yeah, you younger guys don't realize, but before there was FM stereo, there was just mono AM. And when high fidelity came about, you know, stereo, FM stereo, it gave music a life. It gave music movement and shape that it didn't have before. And so many of the songs from the 70s are just utilizing that right and left channel to create movement in the music. You feel the drums move from left to right across the, you know, when the drummer rolls across the mounted toms and down onto the floor toms, you know, it rolls from the left channel to the right channel. And you got your rhythm guitar player and your lead guitar player chunking out of the left and right. And then when they go to the lead break, it's the lead players come out of both channels. And then when they go back to the verse, he's back on his right channel and the rhythm player's back on the left channel. Bass is always coming out of both. Kick drums always come out of both. And that is so important, and especially even with vocals and backup vocals. And it's done so well, you barely know it's happening until you don't have it anymore, right? And what I see today is this crap with these single speakers. It blows my mind that anybody would ever go out and buy some expensive single speaker thing. What the hell are you doing? It might be loud, but it is never going to sound good. There's no left and right. The way you're supposed to listen to music is through a left and right channel with the speakers being at least 5 feet apart. It isn't a preference. It's necessary. and if it's not that way, it is not going to sound the way the producer intended it to sound. Period. And it is a really big difference. Really big difference. Oh yeah, he did more than once. Compared himself to Lane Staley. That's exactly right. Vintage 30 says, I play a lot of guitar and there's nothing like a tube amp. You know, I guess I'll forfeit what money I might have made off this live stream. And I'll just go ahead and do some copyright here to make my point. I mean, I don't need the money. I give all my YouTube money to the foster kids, but let me show you something. Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. Now, that was recorded in 1973 through a paper cone diaphragm microphone and an analog 4-channel board, just as simple as you can be, using 2 microphones for a left and right channel, just on stands. They had 2 microphones on stands about 7 feet apart and a microphone in the center and her singing in it. And listen how damn good that sounds still today. That would hold against anything recorded today. You could take all your digital stuff and do whatever you want. You've seen how warm and wet and thick that vocal is. It matters, kids. It matters. And yeah, rock star. He sure is. Yep. I see Orbs says he's a rock star. And the same with, gosh darn, man, I could play you so many guitar tracks that are just stranglehold. Listen to I've already blown my chance of my monetization on this. So let's just go ahead and just vinyl flak rip. And here we go. Now, did you hear them guitars chunking left and right? There ain't no line in there, kids. That's 2 Marshall amps in an insulated Baltic birch plywood box with the volume knob cranked to completely full. Some of you have listened to my recordings of the gods and my recordings of McGuffey Lane that are on my channel. The the recording that I have that I've made a lot of money off of, enough. I've made quite a bit of money off of the live recording I have of the Gods at the El Rosa Villa a month before they were set to go on tour with the original lineup with 2 drummers, 3 guitar players. I did that using a set of Infinity bookshelf speakers in the trunk of my car with a microphone set in between them. I literally ran an auxiliary snake from the board out the back door, put the mic and those 2 speakers in the trunk of the car, shut the trunk, and it made one of the coolest live recordings ever. It sounds so daggone good for a live recording for some amateur knucklehead like myself. And I actually was paid for that to be on one of their live albums that they did years later. I'll play you a little bit of it. Again, not as good as it could be because it literally is literally 2 Infinity speakers in the trunk of a car with a microphone set in between them. But I put one microphone out in the crowd, way up high. And then I had 2 overhead mics just in front of the stage, and then a line out of the board, the mix that was in the board. Pull this up. Pull it down here. Old Mark Chatfield, you know, the lead player for the Gods, and he was also the lead player for a band called Rosie. I did a lot of work with Angel as well. In my opinion, probably one of the most gifted guitar players of the 70s. Chatfield was doing stuff in the early 70s that we didn't see other bands doing until the 80s. And he was very young when this was recorded. He was a tender 19 years old. But the God live at a Roosevelt, 1978. Mark Chatfield. my next door neighbor, Eric Moore, on the bridge here.
No matter what you're doing, when you're riding, when you're fucking, when you're shooting, as long as you got it, it's rock and roll. Rock and roll. Look at this. Everybody look around you. Look around. This is rock and roll. And you know something? We've been doing this for so long. We ain't people no more. We're machines. 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 The God's a rock and roll machine. No hearts, rock and roll machine. Look at yourselves, rock and roll machine. Columbus, Ohio, rock and roll machine. You got the 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 rock and roll machine.
This is a photo collage, a bunch of my old equipment and club there. Those old Baltic Burt Throwing Vegas, those were, we got a sponsorship through them, and those things were very rare, man. Those were some wickedly good sounding PA there. Them the good old days, buddy. We party back then.
I can't see enough. I can't feel enough. I can't do enough in one damn day. I'm gonna use it.
Yeah, very true.
I don't care what you say. I wanna run, but like I do it all. Like I got without song.
So that just give you an idea there. You know, that's turning the trunk of my car into an ISO box, basically. And I'd heard so many other. I had made several attempts to do a decent live recording. It always sounded like crap because you couldn't get the boominess out of the room. you know, you might be there live and it sounds incredible, but you try to record it. And I know you guys have heard other people try to record live bands playing and it never sounds really good. That is a raw live recording that I recorded when I was just a kid, man. And I used a splitter snake and set of Infinity bookshelf speakers and a microphone, a Shure SM57 in the trunk of my car with the trunk shut out in the alley while the band was playing. So, yeah, ISO box, that's the way to do it. Through that line in shit and that fucking digital trying to add warmth to it digitally later and spacious, you know, ambience and all the stuff it's supposed to have. That just doesn't cut it. That's my opinion. Take it or leave it. Anyway, I wanted to react a little bit to this video. Yeah.
What up, skids? What y'all do? I'm in a band now, dude. And we're badass.
He's in a band now.
And it's crazy because, like, this all happened by, like, accident. Like, or authentic. They were hired for the tour, to be the players for the tour. And I was like, wait a minute, time out. They're not regular musicians. These are mythical, mystical creatures. And I want to hang out with them and make music.
I was wondering, and you know, I'm like totally sincere here. Okay. Can one of you people over there take Ryan out to see some live bands, like, you know, some rock bands, like maybe having, you know, maybe go to a couple like good premier rock clubs, none of that Broadway shit, but maybe, you know, out to some, you know, nice big rock clubs on a Saturday night and listen to some good rock bands. Maybe buy some tickets to a couple of good bands. And then, maybe, I don't know, see if you can convince him to listen to about 4 or 5 albums from the 70s. Cause, you know, back then, you know, an album told a story. When you bought an album, the whole thing had to be good because you couldn't just flip to the next track. You couldn't fast forward. So you had to put the album on and let it play, and your favorite song might be in the middle, right? So everything had to be good, and typically albums were a story. Like the album told a story through the whole album. And one song led into the next, led into the next, led into the next. And each album would have what you call I don't know, its own sound, I guess. Man, so many bands were that way. You know, Journey, Pink Floyd, of course, for sure. And, you know, Leonard Skinner, you know, a lot of, you know, Leonard Skinner's second album was so cool because it was about, their first album was all about them dreaming about being rock stars and partying on Saturday nights and stuff like this. Then their second album was all about dealing with the fame and the money and the bullshit, right? Like, you know, what are some of the famous lines from that album, right? It was like whiskey bottle, brand new car, oh tree, you're in my way. You know, I mean, that whole album was, you know, working for the NCA. Man, so many of them. So many songs were about dealing with fame on the second album. I mean, that's a really good example, you know, and I don't know if some of you guys know this. Maybe you don't. I don't know. And Leonard Skinner had 3 guitars for 2 of the albums. 2 of the best albums had 3 guitar players. And it made a difference because they did a left and right chunk on the rhythm, and then they did both channels mix on the lead guitar player. Man, that shit sounded good. Sounded real good. I agree. The live albums of the 70s, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what, though? I mean, I've heard some good live stuff through this digital age. I ain't going to lie, man. There's some good stuff out there. You know, the Eagles reunion album is a digitally recorded album, although it's very professionally produced. Some of it sounds pretty good. What are some other ones? You know, Linkin Park, all digital. Creed, another all digital. Didn't sound too bad, but you're right, man. That analog stuff sounded good back in the day. I mean, it did. It really did. I mean, I was at a lot of concerts. You know, Legend Valley's an outdoor music venue. It's just not too far from, just a few miles from here. And now it's the home base for Lost Lands, the Lost Lands franchise, which is this digital, like AI music stuff. It's pretty wild. And they have the world's largest, loudest PA system there. It's a fucking hell of a looking thing. They're all Martin speakers, and man, and great big line arrays. Pretty cool. But yeah, that analog stuff, good sounding, warm, thick, full. I've seen a lot of bands at Legend Valley. Ted Nugent got in a bunch of trouble there one year. That was a really crazy weekend because the 2 girls that I went there with, one of them got her legs broke. They were a car ran. You could camp in the parking lot. The parking lot was fields, like, you know, grass fields, and people would camp. And there was always just a wild, crazy party after the concert in the parking lots. And then people would just fall asleep or crash, whatever. And them girls had crashed out. And one of the girls that was with our group and another person got their legs ran over. And then Ted Nugent, somebody threw a jug of beer up on the stage. And Nugent said, "Get that son of a bitch." And buddy, it got crazy. And he got arrested for inciting violence. It was pretty crazy.
Throughout the tour, we got to know each other and hang out with each other, and we clicked. And I was like, "Yo, can y'all help me with Creeker 3? And that turned into all of us forming the band, the Dixielanders. And dude, this is the most excited I've been about music since the beginning of my career. For a couple reasons. First reason, I've never been in a band. Another reason is they're all outside the box thinkers.
What happened to the dudes on Creeker 2? I mean, was that not a band, a guitar player? And I mean, I guess you didn't have a bass player, but I'm not sure how you even did that, but I don't know, man. Why did it sound better? I don't know. You know, Dirty South sound better than anything on Creeker 3 by a far margin. And it could have been better.
They ain't scared to try new shit. They ain't worried about what no one thinks. They have really huge hearts, and their creative ability in the studio is, bro, it's perfect. I mean, that's the only word I can think of. It's perfect. And most importantly, they're all really positive people, and they're adventurous. And between all four of us, we're all very different people, but we all have the same goal and the same passion. Passion, music, the goal is to keep it independent, to keep it free flowing. That's what we're all in it for.
Well, you guys won't have to worry about going anywhere with you fronting. They won't have to worry about any record deals coming their way. They can indulge. Yeah, that overbaked effect. That's not going to sell any records, I'm afraid. I think they didn't come and help you with Creeker 3. I think you guys quick through it together. Because if you're telling me that those songs were long-term projects, then I'm really concerned. Because even the lyrics are cheesy and corny and predictable. Even the lyrics are. Let alone, the kind of, I don't know, I guess, local cover band sound is in, but they won't have to worry about any recording contracts or anything like that right now. They'd need a different front man to do that.
And now we're all in the same room in the same band, creating songs for the world to hear. Also, here's another thing. Don't get it twisted, bro. This is not, in the past, I know, like when I've done stuff with other rappers and stuff, people be like, oh, well, Church, you're carrying them. I will agree with you on that. I did a lot of carrying in hip hop. Well, this is a different situation. There ain't no carrying these people. These people are out here fucking doing favors, if anything. Like these motherfuckers don't need no one. They need their self. That's it. They were surviving in music.
You didn't carry Luke Combs, Ryan. Not one damn bit. Not one bit did you carry Luke Combs. He's went on with a very successful career without you. And he's had a lot of really great sound stuff. And he can actually play guitar. You didn't carry, you got Adam noticed more so than maybe quicker. I'll give it that, quicker, maybe more so than he could have, like independently himself or something. But he's done fine without you. He's went on after that and proven that he's can stand on his own. He's done it for quite long. In fact, you fell off, and these guys have continued to go, man. And I mean, a lot of them, yeah. There might be a couple you carried, but you didn't carry everybody.
Themselves long before we formed this band. In this situation, there is no Upchurch carrying nobody. Upchurch is just a part of a band that is also their band. Like, it's all of ours. We're all 25%. We all put our 25% in, and it becomes 100. And my personal opinion about bands, and somebody might disagree with this, just because you're the lead singer doesn't mean you're the leader. I think all bandmates are the leaders.
Well, I don't know where you ever got that notion anyway. That's really never been a thing. There's always, I mean, that's been the leader of a band has like been other than the front man for lots of bands. I mean, I would say it's as much not as there is. you know, in some bands, everybody sings. Well, there ain't no front man. So I don't know. I don't know where you got that name.
And you all sit down and figure it out and create together. There is no dictating or nothing like that. I feel like if there was someone who deemed themselves like the leader, I feel like it would make way shittier music. So just don't put a title on it and just get in there and just fucking do your thing like you're in a garage. I think that's actually what's wrong with most music. It's not done authentically no more. It's like forced, like processed meat. While me and the Dixielanders out here doing shit like it's the fucking late 70s, early 80s, bro. That's what everyone should be doing. Dude, I can't tell you how many times in music I've heard, music is business.
Yeah. That's crazy. It's if you're already look at this dummy jelly. Yeah. Gee. If you're rich and you don't have to work, and stuff, yeah, music can just be a hobby and a toy and a thing you play with and all that. But if you put your all into it and you need to pay your bills and put food in your belly, yeah, it's a business. And, you know, I don't know. I think, you know, everything got delegated. And now that you're doing it yourself, it's not being delegated anymore. It's actually subpar to what it was before that. And I can promise you for these guys that pay their bills with their music, it's a business. Big time, it's a business.
Who the fuck told you that? That's a lie. Music is an expression of emotion with sound. Somebody who only cares about money made it business. But no, music is not business. But that's the problem. I think everyone thinks music is business. Even a lot of bands and a lot of musicians and rappers, and they all look at it as business too. That's what the song Stars for Tomorrow is about on Creeker 3. Save some stars for tomorrow. Like, stop.
Yeah. How can you even say that? Like I say, almost everybody dreams of making it big and being famous and rich, not just famous. Oh my God. Yeah. That's what happens when, you know, I mean, when you got that gift, you got that talent, and you make a lot of money at a really young age, and all the hard work everybody else does, and yeah, you can say that kind of shit. People out there, dude, that had to live in the back of a fucking van and sleep in parking lots and eat roller food.
Music, I've heard. Music is business. Who the fuck told you that? That's a lie. Music is an expression of emotion with sound. Somebody who only cares about money made it business. But no, music is not business. But that's the problem. I think everyone thinks music is business. Even a lot of bands and a lot of musicians and rappers, and they all look at it as business too. That's what the song Stars for Tomorrow is about on Creeker 3. Save some stars for tomorrow. Like, stop making so many fucking fabricated superstars. And there's a reason why I'm saying that. It ain't because it's like, oh, he's salty or this, that, and the other. No, there's a lot of shit people don't fucking think about. Like, back in the day, you became a superstar because you got noticed as a fucking superstar. Like, somebody looked at you and was like, bro, that's a superstar. And it was because you had talent and drive and passion for what you were doing. Well, here's the thing. When you don't have a passion and a drive to do this, let's say you're a manufactured artist who they're just propping up and you don't really know nothing.
This is what I mean. Guys, somebody's got to get him to go listen to some bands, go listen to other artists. And I mean, something's got to be done about this God complex. Man.
About the music all the fucking time, well, then you wouldn't give a See how that works? Your brain's got to be distracted from the bad shit, but it has to be in a good way.
Is that like before or after you tell people you're going to pee on your mom's grave on your main channel where you pay your bills?
The less stress, the better. And I mean, why do you think I've said no to every record deal I've been offered? I don't want that stress. I'd rather just keep doing music freely and not think of it as a fucking business.
Then, okay, well then why do you charge money for it? Why don't you just give it away? I mean, it's not a business or anything. You don't really need it. It's not like that, you know. Why promote it? Why charge money for it? Why do any of those things? Why do you sell tickets for your concerts? Why aren't you playing free? Why don't you play? I mean, why don't you do the concerts for free? Why make people pay to see it? Oh shit. That's right. Son of a gun. That's right. I forgot. That's how you pay for your indulgent lifestyle, where you can, go outside when you're mad and smash the windows out of 15 cars. And, you can just take a baseball bat to all the drywall in a brand new house and, keep your friends like bitches. Because music's big business there at Ghost Ranch, to the tune of millions of dollars. The contradiction is hella big.
Also, know this, y'all. Next time, it won't be Upchurch and the Dixielanders. It'll be just the Dixielanders. The reason it says Upchurch and the Dixielanders now is because, for one, it was the Creeker Project, and two, I wanted everyone to kind of be aware of, hey, we're starting this band. Next time, it'll be just the Dixielanders. And also, if you don't mind,
hey Joe, all right, but yeah, he can cut out the middleman, but there's only a middleman if it's a business. There's no middleman if you're doing it for free.
go subscribe to the Dixielanders page, because that's where all the music is going to be going, and music videos and all that. We also have an Instagram together. It's at the Dixielanders. That's got most of our tour antics and Ghost Ranch antics on there. Behind the scenes stuff in the studio, all the good shit. Also, to everyone who listens to my music, I want to let you know that I'm probably going to be focusing on.
Hey, yeah, I agree 100%. Tracy says, you were offered one deal and that was, for $150K, nobody would touch you today. That is so true, man. I mean, that window swung open one time, and I can tell you, I mean, I'll say it, if he would have had a really, really good manager and a really, really, really good studio and producer, some kick-ass session musicians, he would have been as big as Jelly Roll. But that window came and went. It's gone. It's never coming back. And I'm not saying he put out some good stuff, man. And he's been able to live a life of excess because of it, to his own detriment, I would argue. And all that. But yeah, it ain't like record deals come knocking anymore. Them days are gone. There's no way. I have not heard a a a vocal that was in pitch since that. What was that? Pure Country. Yeah, that stupid like there's that effect they're using. It's like it's a vibrato and a chorus all overbaked. So you can do a chorus, you can do a quad chorus. Some people even run 2 quad chorus. Okay, if you once you learn to be the proper producer and you know your way around a board and you start returning your effects to channels, you can layer effects, and a lot of people use a layered quad chorus. But man, I don't know what they're doing with this. They got this vibrato and this like canned reverb with a chorus, and it's just all of them are overdriven, and it gives it this like really like almost. You guys have heard it. You guys heard it. I mean, it's
rock music for a while. Rock
it doesn't sound natural.
and country. There's some shit that needs to be done over there in country, and I just really want to pay attention to the rock music because my Creeker 1 and 2 album, it's been like 6-7 years since those. It's definitely the least kind of music I have in my catalog, but that's like my go-to music in my day-to-day life. So I'm really excited about doing it because I want to see what I can do with it. We've already seen what I can do with rap and country, really. I'm ready to see what kind of stuff I can get into with rock music, bro. Especially with 3 bad motherfuckers with me. Game over, fucking. Especially them 3.
See, this is the thing that kills me. That's so true. Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Instagram ads. There were some Spotify ones too. I'm not knocking it. Business, hell yeah. If I had his talent, it would be a big business for me, man. I'd be making as much as I could possibly make. I would make me some generational wealth so my grandkids could say, man, I'm living off the shit my grandpa did. My great grandpa did. That would be so cool. And there'd be no shame in it. I mean, you got a talent like that, make as much as you can with it, man. No shame at all there. But to claim that music ain't about business, I would argue that the overwhelming, the only time music isn't business is if you're already wealthy and you don't, money's not a thing anymore. Then, and you know what? In almost every case, and I'm sure you guys will agree, in almost every case, when that happens, the music suffers. When these guys get a bunch of money and it's no longer about the money, it goes to hell. I know my way around Slackware like I know the streets of the town I live in, but I got no desire to even piss with somebody as stupid as that dumb bastard. I got other things to do with my time. Okay. Newbuck needs to get a life, maybe find a woman, stop worrying about me, stop, looking at me, my face and masturbating, and just quit it. Just quit it, man. You're never going to be a man. There's not one thing you're ever going to be better at me at in your entire fucking life. And it's because your ass doesn't leave that chair. And until your ass leaves that chair, you're just always going to be a lonely nobody with nothing. And sorry, I'm sorry, but my first goddamn computer was Linux, and I know Slackware very, very well. I've got no desire to prove shit to that dumb bastard. No desire at all. Now, Sue, I was going to do this whole video, but I ain't gonna. Anyway, so I've been thinking about what I was going to do because I'm gonna step things up here with my channel. Let's do some more videos. And I'm also thinking about doing a really cool giveaway. And what I think I'm going to do is a vintage stereo. And I mean like the whole potato, like a Marantz or a Sansui or a, really high-end realistic or from the 70s or Pioneer, Hitachi, something cool, something tube, something antique, something from the late 60s, early 70s in real good shape, and a really good strobe tuned turntable with a cartridge stylus that you can beef up, put any nice one you want on there, and because I thought about a cassette deck, but a lot of people don't know how to record cassettes, and if they're not recorded right, they don't sound as good as a turntable. So I thought I'd do a turntable and then a set of nice vintage bookshelf speakers. I mean some good stuff. Like some some Sansuis or maybe some HPM 10s or HPM 20s. Something cool. And just do a whole vintage stereo giveaway since it's kind of like a music deal anyway. And so I mean you guys can give me some feedback on what you think about that. Well, it's unfortunately that happens. I mean, he's such a. I mean, I understand why he's so insanely jealous, and you got to try to wrap your mind around being grossly overweight, hating what you see in the mirror. When he looks in the mirror, he absolutely despises what he sees, and he's got no accomplishments. His voice sounds like a girl. He can't manage his money well. That's why his woman dumped him. And he can't control his urges. So he spends all his money on dope and nonsense. And all he's got's time to just sit there on the computer and stare at me, wishing that he had some skill or some accomplishment or some talent or something, whatever, And, I mean, listen to such silliness, a Slackware hacking contest. What? You can hack using any fucking computer. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, most people today, Slackware, I don't know. If I was gonna do a lamp today, I'd probably use Ubuntu, the Ubuntu server, only because the support for Ubuntu is so much greater. A lot of people, there just ain't a lot of the really good guys left around the Slackware making modules for it. And a lot has changed in the last 5 years. And I can tell you, even SendMail and Pro FTP are, getting to be dinosaurs. MySQL still pretty good. But I got nothing to prove to a fucking dipshit like that. I mean, I guess it's just retardedness. It's like, I've never seen people that just can't accept that there are people in the world that know or can do things. I just never seen anything like it, man. I've never seen anything like it. It's just, It's so childish. I could not imagine being that infatuated with somebody that I don't even know, that I've never met or never spoken to or anything. It's a sad thing to see. It really is. I feel sorry for him at times. He is, man. He was the cuck over there, but I haven't seen that lunatic anywhere. That was another lunatic that just stalked me like a complete fucking retard. You know, I mean, just an absolute fucking retard. You know, with the Wade Deaver channel, you know, just absolute fucking just weirdo, freaktoid, you know, gutter of society turd. I mean, Jesus, was that guy a turd? And, you know, stalked me. Look at this. I mean, how many, do you get tired of making these channels? Do you? I mean, do you ever get tired of just always having to make a channel so you can make some juvenile comment? I couldn't imagine. But yeah, and then, you know, you got this weirdo, Nichols, just, guy's got nothing, wants to be me so bad, and he just can't let it go, man. He can't let it go. It bugs him that I've been right about everything. And that I've made fools out of them so much that their credibility is completely shot. Nobody believes a word they say. I mean, their credibility is so bad that they could actually video record something and people still wouldn't believe it. That's how bad their credibility is. I mean, when you get caught lying and grossly exaggerating every single time you fucking talk, your credibility will take a hit, man. And then people, credibility gone. Stage 4 terminal cancer in 2 vital organs of the body, and we don't even need to go to the doctor for 2.5 fucking years. Jeez. You know, it's just funny, you know. And you know, so goddamn worried that, you know, you won't be better than everybody. You end up saying stupid shit like you had a stereo that blew 40 windshields. And that, you know, you were a world champion of a bass that was too loud. World. You know, like Earth. Whew. That's what happens. You know, when you're more worried about other people's accomplishments than you are your own. That's what happens. I mean, do you remember how big of a fool Ryan Nichols, Newbuck, made of himself when he adopted that stupid bastard that was a lawnmower guy? You know, he mowed the grass down there at that track in Tennessee. And so he got to live in the rundown, beat up mobile home there on the property for free, as long as he mowed the grass and, you know, made sure nobody carried off anything. And then, I mean, that guy made one comment on my channel to tell you how infatuated that dumbass is, and then how gullible, stupid, and small-minded he is. I told you guys how stupid he was about when I first started this channel. The wife has a side gig where she does coding for insurance billing for a company from home. And so right after I started doing live streams, we were going to hire another lady to come and work 4 hours a day for my wife's business. And I had said something about, oh yeah, we had to put a desk in because we're going to get another lady on the phones here. That stupid bastard Newbuck thought I meant we were hiring somebody for my podcast. That's how fucking dumb he is. And that dumbass, that idiot from Tennessee that was the groundskeeper at that racetrack, he made one comment on my video talking about he was a professional motocross champion and he knew better and I should be wearing a helmet. And I knew he was full of shit from the very first comment. Because people that can ride really good have no reason to tell you. And I've been around a lot of people like that. I just knew he was full of shit right from the rip. And so I played with him a little bit and then just gave up. Well, simply because that guy talked shit to me, Newbuck fell in love with him. Like, they talked on the phone for the first time for like 3 hours, like a guy and a girl would that, you know, had an Instagram crush on each other. And Newbuck took him live on his channel while that dumb bastard told the longest 2.5 hour no stop for air or water bullshit story you've ever heard in your life. And that stupid bastard believed every single word of it. And he just made a fool of himself. I mean, he made a fool of himself. And it never got any better after that. But you talk about making a fool of yourself. When you couldn't see through somebody as shallow as that guy was with that braggadocious bullshit. And then when he said that he claimed he owned the motorcycle shop in that little pissy ass town. I think that town's got a population of like 1,600 people. I mean, it's a little town. And that's all there is around there. There isn't really any bigger, you know, like I would consider cities, you know, for 30, 40 minute drive. And my brother and sister lived not too far from there. And at a horse ranch, my mom, my brother, and my sister. And he sat there on Newbuck's live stream and said that they sold 4,000 motorcycles a year. Used. 4,000 a year used. Now put your calculator to that, how many they'd have to sell a day. They're only open, you know, you're not going to be open 365 days. You're going to be closed Sundays. You're going to be closed holidays. Right? Most motorcycle shops are closed on Sunday and one day during the week, usually Sunday and Monday. And he believed him. They sat there and had a lengthy conversation about it. And he was too dumb to know that every single person listening was laughing their ass off at him and just like thinking, what an absolute imbecile. I mean, oh yeah, leg day, yeah. You know, he's another one, man. That guy begged me to roast his ass. I mean, I probably made 100 videos threatening me and talking trash. And I thought, well, time to roast you. I mean, I don't think any of those people in Crack Squad have the right to criticize anyone's homes, successes, career, clothes, looks, nothing. I mean, they lose in every single category. And it's a rarity for them to even have their own place, let alone something nice. Yeah, and old karma. Dang. Karma's been a bitch for some of these dudes. Just been a bitch. I don't know what that would be. I said incorrect things regarding the Amish. What the fuck are you even talking about, dude? Okay. Wow. I don't know much about the Amish other than it's right around here. I see them all the time. This is Amish country. Oh, for Lord have sakes. There's good people in every religion, you simpleton. Lord have mercy. Look at that. Could you imagine being that dumb? This is why, you know, I honestly believe because Upchurch has embraced these extremely low IQ people and they've allowed him to lie to them at will, that it has dumbed him down too. And that's why he's in the shape he's in, to the point where he's actually picking up a guitar he can't play and releasing music that's not ready. God, incorrect people about they're so very good people. Imagine being that dumb. There's good people and bad people in every walk of life, little boy. Every walk of life. Not all Amish are that way. No, not true. It depends on every sect is different, you simpleton. Quit watching TV and judging people by what you see on TV. You know, TV's make believe, right? And what's not make believe is grossly exaggerated. So, return to Amish ain't nothing like actual Amish people. I would say the worst religion, you know, I've been alive a long time, dealt with a lot of crap in my life. Jehovah's Witness by far is probably the most restrictive religion with the most internal rules aimed at isolating and controlling people of any other religion. I mean, that doesn't mean everybody that's a Jehovah's Witness is a bad person, but the religion in and of itself is probably the worst, for sure, as far as oppression and isolation, shunning. Those are all control tactics that aimed at, you know, hurting people and making people feel guilty. My brother and sister, I'll have you know, both married into the Jehovah's Witness religion. We grew up Catholic. And I can tell you, man, Our religion is shit. There is no God that would require you to shun your own family or shun your own children because they don't go to your church. There was not a single kingdom hall on planet Earth when Jesus walked. And there isn't one mentioned in the Bible. You're never going to be judged by the address where you worshiped. Never. You're going to be judged based on what's in your heart. And it won't matter what address you went to worship. It's a personal thing, spiritual and personal, and has nothing to do with a brick and mortar organization of any kind. And that being said, I'm bolting off of here. We'll see you guys on the next one. Yeah, let me know what you think. I think I'm gonna put together a cool giveaway, and I'm gonna start doing a couple regular, maybe some political stuff and some comedy, and stuff like that. In addition to, and hopefully with this trial hit the court in June. As soon as the jury selection, discovery's all done, and justice will be served. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and we will. Yeah, Christmas. Yep. See you guys later. Appreciate y'all tuning in, man.